Hi, everyone, and welcome back to the Strength Podcast. Today, we have Ricky Raybould. He is a personal trainer, online coach, and sports massage therapist. He does it all. And this podcast is going to be very valuable for a lot of people upcoming. Maybe you want to become a personal trainer. Maybe you want to get into the fitness industry, or maybe you just want some advice on weight loss or anything to do with the gym. Ricky's going to provide all that today for you, so it's going to be very valuable. So grab a cup of tea and listen up. Ricky, welcome to the podcast, mate. How are you doing today?
Thank you, mate. I'm all good, thank you. Glad to be on here. It's been a while since we caught up in general anyway, so it'd be good to just have a chat on here and have others listen. So it'd be cool.
It's amazing how quick life goes, mate. I think we went to the gym together, it must have been like a year ago now.
Yeah, well, I'm trying to think whether it was before lockdown or not. Was it before? No, it was after lockdown, I think.
Yeah,
but still, it was a long old time ago.
Yeah, it's crazy how fast life goes when you're so busy. But the first question I want for you today, mate, I just want to jump straight into it today.
Yeah, let's go.
Obviously, I know you're a humble guy, but you are one of the most successful personal trainers that I know. So what has been the key to your personal success in the industry?
Well, first of all, I appreciate you saying that. I would say genuinely just caring, to be honest. And I know like a lot of people say that. But I would say, I genuinely care the most I possibly ever care about my client's success. I mean, I care more about my client's success and my own success in the gym. I would say, it's caring and it's finding, I always say to my clients, I will always find a solution to their problem, no matter whatever it is. So there's always going to be a different scenario. There's people who, I've had clients who, are suffering with like extreme mental health issues. I mean, the way you might attack someone, everyone says that, for example, I mean, fat loss and injuries is generally the two areas I work on the most. And fat loss in particular, I mean, people say, fat loss is easy. But it's easy on paper. But when you've got a person in front of you who suffers with extreme mental health, as soon as they have a bump in their road, everything just goes fucking AWOL. And then, you've got all sorts of other issues and barriers in their way. It's my job to actually look at how can we break through those barriers. And like I said, I'll always try my best to find that best possible solution, even if that's getting someone externally. Do you know what I mean? If it's someone who's able to deal with that better, I'm not afraid to pass them on either. So I suppose it's knowing your niche and market. But I think it comes down to caring, to be honest with you. Obviously, again, I suppose I'd like to think I've got the knowledge. There's a level of business understanding as well. I would like to say I'm pretty business minded. And again, it's just, I think, it's breaking it down. You've got to have the knowledge, you've got to care, and then you've got to understand how to run a business. If you can do those three things, you are fucking flying.
Yeah. So, I think that's a really great approach, actually, mate. I mean, as you said, you put your clients first, you put their needs and their wants first, which is obviously been the key for your success in the industry. And obviously looking at instead of just training someone, you've also helped them on a personal level as well, as you said, with their mental health problems and things like that. So you've been sort of like more than a personal trainer, I should say, than to a lot of clients, which I think is absolutely great. So I can only respect you for that. So
thank you, bro.
How old are you now, mate?
I'm 25 now.
25, getting
exactly, mate. Yeah, the joints are feeling it already.
So what age did you start, mate?
I want to say, so I had a bit of a weird journey with it. So I came out of school 16. I went to college and I pretty much got forced into doing a trade. So I did carpentry when I left school, even though I knew I wanted to be a PT. But back in the day, especially back then, it's not PT wasn't as popular as what it is now. Mm-hmm. So I was always told you can't make a living doing it. It's not really a job. It's not a career. Go and get a trade. I wasn't exactly great in school. So
same as me.
My options were I got given two options by the career advisor. It was either do a trade or join the army. I couldn't join the army because I've got asthma, so I was left with just a trade. So that was why I went down that route. It wasn't necessarily I hated doing that, but I knew I wanted to be a PT. So while I was doing that course, I would have been when I was doing my apprenticeship, I was 18. Alongside doing my apprenticeship, I got qualified as a PT. So I did an evening course in my PT, And then when I did my level 2, I was working alongside my carpentry job from the age of 18 to 20. And then when I was 20, I became a personal trainer full time then. So I've been a PT for 7 years, but I've been a full-time PT for 5 years. So
that's gone so quick because, like, you know, it comes up on your memories on Facebook, like 6-year memory and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I had like a 6-year memory when I was in college, and I remember you was in college at the same time as me in college, and you were doing the personal training course. I was doing the level 2 course, and it's mad to think that was like over 6 years ago.
Oh, mate, it's crazy. It's absolutely mental. Like I always think back to that though, because like I always remember, like I feel like we both knew, and this isn't bad mouthing the college courses, but I feel like we both knew that, like, if you just listen to a college course and then fuck off, like you're not going to get very far as a PT.
No.
It's just ticking a box, basically.
Yeah.
But I feel like we both knew that, because I remember we got paid up to do some work together. And it's it's just ticking boxes. It's general.
It's just the qualification, and it's just getting that qualification on paper, because obviously everywhere now, like, you can't really be a personal trainer anywhere without having that qualification, because obviously we live in this generation where like qualifications are everything pretty much. But yeah, I agree. Like, as soon as I left college, I actually learned more just from training in the gym myself, and
exactly.
Gaining that experience and making mistakes with clients when I was younger, making mistakes personally in my own training. And that's how I learned, and sort of getting more experienced coaches to coach me, just learning from more experienced people in the gym and actually physically learning. You know, I think a college course alone is not anywhere near enough for you to become a personal trainer. I think you need to do so much more in order to become a personal trainer. Like, I see so many people come out of college as personal trainers, they think they know everything and they think they could be a personal trainer straight away, and they can't end up keeping like 2 or 3 clients because they just don't have that knowledge and that experience. And that's something you need to gain over, you know, the 6 years that me and you have gained after the course. So what would be, because, you know, so many people struggle with weight loss. It's like, it's one of the biggest things in the world that people just can't seem to do. And I think it's mainly the dieting that's the hardest part for the majority of people. What would be your advice for those people who really struggle with losing weight and sticking to a diet?
Yeah. So, do you know what? This is going to be a little bit unorthodox. And again, this is based on, again, the type of clients I work with are not people who, you know, I know there's some coaches out there, their client base, for example, let's say you work with physique competitors, bodybuilders, that sort of stuff. You know, those people, they love health and fitness. They're almost robots. Whatever you tell them, you can tell them the most optimal plan and they will stick to it, which is obviously wicked. But that's not my client base. And based on you saying, you know, the people who struggle with fat loss, you know, they're probably also not going to be able to stick to the classic, just count your calories, just literally this calorie deficit and that's done, which obviously works, but you're not bearing in mind other issues. People have got issues with binge eating, emotional eating, all of these other things as well. So I would say the first thing is actually look at like the quality of your food. And I always say to people, like, most people are actually people always think, right, I want to lose fat, so I'm going to cut my food down. And the first thing people do is they'll look at their main meals and they'll think, right, so say they might have a pretty standard meal. I'm not saying that most people eat like this, but say, for example, they had chicken, rice and broccoli. They'll go, I'll have a little bit less rice, a little bit less chicken, a little less broccoli, and that's less calories. But obviously they forget then the knock-on effect of it is they end up hungry. Then they end up hungry. They have a bad day at work. They're stressed. They come home from work and they smash a fucking whole bar of big bar of fucking dairy milk. And then they wonder then, oh, right, I can't do this. Why is fat loss so hard? Rather than, right, okay, actually, realistically, if I want to, you know, lose a bit of body fat, I need to eat more, but more of the right stuff. What's going to help me feel full and satiated within the next 2, 3, 4 hours, rather than what's the lowest calorie meal? Because, you know, I always say to clients, if you pick a meal that's like a Slimming World meal, right, and it's like 250 calories, people are like, oh, fucking hell, that's amazing for fat loss. But like an hour later, you're starving, you've got nothing prepped. So again, that's when you reach for the quick stuff, the crisps, the chocolate, the sweets, that sort of stuff, or takeaway. So it's looking at, right, instead of that, I'd rather the person go, right, I'm going to have a 700 calorie meal, have a shit ton of veg on there, have a shit ton of protein on there, you know, have some good carbs on there, whether that's potatoes or whatever. And then that way, then they're able to tie themselves over further and further down the line and actually just be able to, you know, make fat loss a lot easier. Because in the long run, yes, they've had 700 calories, for example, but compare that to when they had 250 calories. It started off thinking they're having 250 calories, but then they've made up and more from like shit food. Yeah. So it's like, plus obviously the knock-on effect of if you're fueling yourself with good food, then you're gonna have more energy. If you've got more energy, you want to train harder, you want to do more steps, all of these kinds of things. So it's like looking at, zoom out a bit. I always say to people, like, don't just think, oh, I need to eat smaller. Zoom out a bit, back away, think, right, where do I fuck up? And most people, I'm guessing I'm allowed to swear on this, by the way. Yeah. Where do people cock up? And people cock up usually by, like I said, binge eating, and because they restricted themselves too much. So don't restrict yourself. Actually eat more, but more of the right stuff. Plan, prepare ahead of time, and that's probably my best bit of advice, is just eat more, but make sure you're prepping ahead of time as well, you know. And it makes fat loss easier then, rather than, like, fat loss shouldn't be hard, especially for like the general person. Obviously, again, if you're going more deeper down into the bodybuilding, low body fat stages, obviously that's hard. But for the general average person who's just looking to lose a bit of body fat, and just be nice and lean and healthy, like, it shouldn't be too hard. Again, it's more about planning, prepping ahead, and if you've done that, you're onto a winner.
Yeah, definitely, mate. Yeah. So I want to debunk this myth just for all the people out there, because this is a very researched question, and it's a very debatable question. Do you have to work out to get ripped? I know the answer to that, but I want to see your answer for everyone else watching.
Yeah. I mean, it depends on the person. It really does depend on the person. I mean, like, in terms of what would you class as ripped, I suppose. I mean, again, if it's the average Joe or Jane, no, like, literally walking and a good diet, that's all, like, based on the majority of people, and what majority of people want in terms of what my clients want, they can get 95% of the way there without training. Now, I wouldn't recommend it, just because, number one, you know more than anyone the benefits of strength training in general, not even just from a body shape point of view, but like from a longevity of, you know, you're going to reduce back pain, knee pain, shoulder pain, all those kinds of things if you do it properly. Plus, like, it's just fun, isn't it? Like, I find a lot of my clients, they'll come to me with a fat loss goal. They end up falling in love with strength training, and then once they've lost their fat, they just think, well, I just want to get strong now. So it's like, it creates like a hobby for people as well. So plus, in terms of the more muscle you have, again, I'm not saying anyone listening to this, if you're just looking to lose a bit of body fat and you just, you know, you're not bothered about becoming Arnold Schwarzenegger, I'm not saying that's going to be the case. Unfortunately, I've been trying that for about freaking 10 years. It's not working for me. So if I'm trying and I can't do it, then I'm sure you won't have a problem with it. You're training a couple of times a week with strength for it. But if the stronger and more muscle you have, the faster your metabolism is. So if your metabolism is faster, fat loss is going to be a lot easier as well. So again, if, say, for example, it takes 2,000 calories for you to lose weight normally, but then if you've been strength training for 2 years and you've got more muscle, it might take you 2,500 calories to lose that weight. So obviously you can be on more, you can eat more foods and stay leaner or get leaner easier. So I would look at it like that. It's not essential, but I think it is very important, in my opinion.
Yes. Definitely. And then we also got the other question then, can you still eat junk food every single day and lose weight? Because that's a very popular question among people who don't fully understand what it takes to lose weight. So can you still eat junk food every day and get in great shape?
Yes, you can. Again, it depends on the person. It depends on, like, the first person that came into my mind when you said that was, obviously you probably know him. I don't know if anyone else listening would know him. Matt Does Fitness.
Yeah.
So there's Matt Does, and also the Hodge twins. Exactly, the Hodge twins as well. They both of them eat a lot of shit. But what I will say is, both those people, or three of them, obviously the twins, they genetically gifted, number one. I don't think everyone will be able to get away with that. Number two, they got a good relationship with food. They know when to stop. They've trained hard. They know they don't have any issues with binge eating. They're not emotional eaters. They don't have issues with menopause like what I got with some clients. They don't have diabetes. They don't have any of these other sort of problems that potentially some people who are listening or my clients might have. So you plus as well, like they've got a lot of muscle, all three of those. So again, going back to that metabolism, for them, they need to eat a lot of calories anyway, just to stay in the shape they are. So you've got to bear that in mind as well. But I think majority of people, I wouldn't personally recommend it for my clients. I'm not saying that I don't ever recommend to have junk food, but I wouldn't say every day. I think, again, going back to what I was saying in terms of like what foods are going to keep you fuller for longer from start. Obviously, again, if you have McDonald's, you know what it's like. You literally starve them within an hour. You have McDonald's, again, you're probably not going to have the most energy. Again, it depends on the person. But again, a lot of the type of clients that I work with have got issues with gut health. They've got issues where they're not able to digest food. So they're not going to feel great on that sort of stuff. So it's just about looking at the big picture again of like, right, if you're not feeling great, your chances are then you're not going to want to do your steps. Chances are you're not going to want to train hard. Chances are it's probably going to affect your sleep. All of these kind of things. So again, it's one of those, and I know like, again, it's such a common theme on like podcasts when fitness people are talking is like, it depends answer, but it is like, it always is, it depends in this.
Yeah.
It's like one of those things. It depends on the person. It depends on the scenario. There's so many different factors to it. But again, majority of people listening, I would say, no, I would not recommend eating junk food every day because of the knock-on effect of it. Obviously, we don't know. Again, I'm saying about like Matt There's Fitness and the Hodge twins. I don't know what's going on internally with them. I don't know. Maybe they've got all sorts of issues going on with their organs. I don't know. And that's obviously, something that you're probably not going to know for the time being. So why risk it, in my opinion?
Yeah, definitely.
I think that's the basic thing.
Yeah, obviously you talked about things like emotional eating, and obviously mental health problems are often linked to that as well. What would be your advice for anyone who does use eating junk food as a way to sort of solve their problems, if you get what I mean? It's like when people are feeling depressed or when people are going through certain problems, they just think, oh, fuck it, I'm just going to eat a big chocolate cake just to feel better. Like, what would be your advice for people like that? Because it's a very big problem in the world.
Oh, mate, it's huge. And I always say to people, like, that is, in my opinion, it's the number one reason why people struggle with their weight, because they can't control their emotions. Because there's so many different ways that people are. You look at like society in general. People are sad, they drink and eat. People are happy, they celebrate by eating and drinking lots of food. People get, like any scenario, they'll find an excuse to drink a shitload of alcohol and eat a shitload of junk food. So it's about obviously controlling your emotion. And I know it's a lot easier said than done. But again, going back to what I was saying about zooming out, I think one of the biggest things that someone needs to do is they need to attach themselves to, right, understanding that, okay, that chocolate bar is making me feel good at this moment in time, but it's very temporary. It's literally within 10 minutes, because then 10 minutes after that, they get guilt. 10 minutes after that, they get 10 minutes again after that, they start noticing their energy levels start feeling like shit. Then they start thinking, oh, why have I done this? And then they start looking at themselves in the mirror and think, well, I look like shit as well. And then they end up in this downward spiral. So it's about attacking it, looking at it as, right, okay, just stop for a second and think, right, okay, how I know that I don't feel like eating a big salad with chicken breast and avocado at this moment in time, but if I can force myself to do that right now, then I know that whilst I'm not going to enjoy it as much as what I'm going to enjoy that chocolate bar right now, in an hour, 2 hours time, I'm going to feel a million times better for it. And then you just build that cycle up. And I think the more and more you can practice doing things that you don't want to do when you don't feel like doing it, the more and more it becomes a habit. And again, you know all about that with your training. I'm sure there's plenty of times where you haven't felt like training. I'm sure there's plenty of times where you haven't felt like eating all the calories you have to train. I'm sure there's plenty of times when there's all sorts of scenarios. But the more and more you do it, the more and more it just becomes a habit. So it's like, with people like that, I always say, like, do as many. Obviously, again, I'm not saying make your life a misery and do nothing you enjoy, but Like, you know, simple things like cold showers or ice baths. Like, again, you don't want to do it, but you do it anyway because you know the after effect of it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like training. Again, I know some people don't want to do it, but I like a simple practice of, right, okay, go out for a run in the rain today just because you're going to do it anyway because you know how much better you're going to feel afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
It's like getting into those habits as much as possible. But
yeah, definitely.
That's like obviously one part of it. And then, I mean, the other side of it as well is again, you've got to look at the root cause of it. What's causing that person to be so stressed? What's causing that person to be so angry? What's causing that, whatever the reason is? And look at, can you fix that root cause of that problem? Obviously. So, you know, if it's someone's job, like I've had conversations with clients where I'm like, look, genuinely, if you actually ever want to like take your health seriously, you might need to look at changing your job. And like, I know that sounds extreme, but in my opinion, health is number one. Like, fuck your job, I don't care. Like, if you're suffering really bad with your mental health, you're overweight, your partner doesn't like you anymore because you're depressed and overweight. Like, why? Like, nothing's worth sticking to for that. So I just think like sometimes you got to look at that. It could be your partner could be the problem. Again, initially, it seems like the worst possible thing you could do, leaving your job or leaving your partner or whatever. But like in the long run, you'll probably thank me for it because you'll be like, oh, actually, now I'm in a much better place. Now I'm able to do fat loss. Now I feel much better. And then as a result of it, you'll probably have a better job in the long run. You'll probably have a better partner in the long run. And it's just like that knock-on effect. But it's getting out of that initial rut. And unfortunately, only the person who's struggling with that can do that for them. And, you know, even me as a coach, I can support and provide as much value to that person as possible. But at the end of the day, they've got to pull themselves out of that rut. And it is hard. It is very definitely hard. And I don't want to sound like I'm being condescending to people because, you know, mental health's fucking hard.
Oh,
but
yeah. It's fucking
there's
tough,
people who it is. And but there's a lot of people who've done it, who've come out at the other side and can speak for it, you know.
All about making those harsh decisions, isn't it? You know, it's like sometimes a harsh decision is what's needed in life, and the amount of strength it takes to make that decision is just fucking incredible. But as you said, like as soon as you make that decision, they'll thank you in the long run for it. You know, like it seems harsh at the time, but once you actually make that decision and you stick with it, it does change your life. You know, it may be painful in the moment, but then down the line, it's like, fuck, life's changed right here. So I made a video the other day, and I was talking about, I made a video the other day, and I was out on a little jog or walk, just 2 miles, and it was pissing down with rain. It was like, you know, this week in the UK has been fucking dreadful, and it's been pissing down every day. So I was out in that, and you know, there'd be people looking, like this was like 11:30 at night. There'd be people looking out of their windows at me. There'd be like people texting me like, "What the fuck are you doing at 11:30 at night out in the pissing down rain? Like, why the fuck would you do that?" It's like everyone questions that, but to me, that's just so normal to do that because it's like, what I think of is I think the difference between motivation and discipline, right? Motivation is, you know, the initial start. It's like you're motivated to get going. It's like, right, fucking, I'm so motivated. I'm going to get going. And you're really consistent for a week. You do everything you should for a week. Then that motivation is just gone because the initial start and the initial excitement is gone. So then that's where discipline comes in. And that's why discipline is so much more important than motivation. So the reason I go out and do them things is because things I don't want to do, when I do those things, it makes me 10 times stronger. It makes me 10 times more disciplined. So then on the days where I don't want to go to the gym, I've already gone out in the pissing down rain for a jog. So like going to the gym is like, it's not that bad.
Yeah.
I've already done 1,000 things that I fucking don't want to do. And that's my advice for so many people out there, is to just do shit you don't want to do all the time. Get uncomfortable all the fucking time, because then on days you don't feel like doing shit, you'll fucking do it anyway because you're used to it. Whereas if you're just relying on motivation, you're not really going to get anywhere, are you? So what's the sort of things you do to get uncomfortable? I know you mentioned cold showers and stuff. How often do you do that? What's your sort of routine with all that sort of stuff?
Well, funny enough, I was literally talking about this literally yesterday to my mate, because like so over lockdown, I did not have a warm shower. I didn't physically turn a warm shower on over lockdown. I didn't expose myself to warm water one single bit. And obviously, and that was like between the lockdowns as well. So when we were out and about still and we were let out, I still didn't. I carried that streak on. So it was like a good like, I don't know how many days that is, but it was a long old time. So I was doing that, but then I've sort of slowed off on that a little bit. I'm now only doing it on rest days because I don't know if you've ever seen it with like the studies they're saying about now how it can potentially blunt muscle growth. So I'm like backing off it a little bit just to see if I notice any difference in that sense. So like I'm just looking at doing them on a rest day and trying out from there. Obviously that's one. Oh shit! Sorry, flipping my phone all over.
That's all right, mate. It happens.
Cold showers is one thing. To be honest with you, like, I mean, we've work. I mean, I get up early, like 5 a.m. at most days. Again, do I want to do that every day? No, probably not. Like simple little things. I mean, I love. Again, I was talking, funny enough, to Ali about it the other day. Like, I've started getting back into. I was training more. I was playing rugby and stuff like that, so I changed my training a little bit. But I've gone back to now like more like quote unquote bodybuilding style training. And I love like the low volume, high intensity approach of like taking 1 to 2 sets to absolute failure.
Yeah. Again,
the reason why I like doing it, yes, obviously it's great for muscle growth, but also it's for the mindset. You know, it's take your mind somewhere else. Push beyond that point. You know, when you're on a hack squat, you don't want to do those last couple of reps. Just do them anyway. You know, and you're to carry over into other things as well. Again, is like I always like to just throw random challenges at myself when a lot of it I go by feel. So the worse I'm feeling, the more shit things I will do. The better I'm feeling, the less I'll do, if that makes sense. So if I'm starting to notice I'm starting to go downhill, I'll randomly go, right, okay, I've got 2 hours spare. I'll go up like Tumbala mountain bike, which is by me. Chuck a backpack on and just get up there as quick as I possibly can. Doesn't matter whether it's raining, snowing, boiling hot, whatever. I'll go up and do it and push myself to be on that point of where I feel like I'm just going to throw up, because obviously I want to push myself beyond that point. But like a lot of these are like physical challenges, and like I understand as well. Again, not everyone enjoys that physical stuff, because I'm probably the opposite. I'm not really particularly like academic. I don't really enjoy like mentally challenging things in not mentally challenging stuff. Like like stuff where there's no physical prowess shown. So like if you ask me, so for example, like I've set myself a goal now for this next year. I want to learn chess. Like, it sounds stupid, but I don't like that. Doesn't sound. I don't want to learn chess, to be honest with you. I don't enjoy shit like that. Like I hate films. I can't sit and watch films. I don't like sitting down and doing stuff. I just don't like doing it. Like sitting and talking about fitness is probably as far as I'll ever go. But I hate just sitting and talk. I hate just sitting and doing stuff. So I'm going to set myself to do that, because again, the physical stuff, whilst obviously again I don't want to do some of those things, I also get a bit of a kick out of it. Whereas the chess, there is absolutely no enjoyment out of that at all, to be honest with you. But I'm going to do it anyway, because I know then it's all about comparison. I was talking to a client about it the other day. My client said to me, she was like, "Oh, I'm fucking freezing." She kept on moaning about it. So I said to her, I was like, have a cold shower, have an ice bath, and I guarantee you'll be warm. And it's like, it's all about comparison. You know, like it, you know, again, if someone, you could say, and I know some of these sound quite harsh, but if someone's moaning about being broke, like, go to Africa and stay there for a couple of weeks, then you'll realize you're not broke.
It's true. It's very true, mate. It's very true. Like, you know, as you say, it's hard. Like, there's so many different problems that are very hard to deal with. Like, as you said, being broke, you know, it's hard. But then you also have to look at the people, as you say, who have nothing. And it's like, you look around and you're like, okay, I might be broke, but I've still got a house. I've still got water. I've still got food. I've still got family. It's like, are you really that broke? Do you know what I mean? It's like, you can sort of compare it a little bit. As you said, it's very harsh, but it is the truth. It is the fucking truth. You know, no matter what you're going through, you still have things to be thankful for. And if you're living in the UK and you're watching this video right now, you know, you most likely got a roof around, you've got a roof over your head, you've got clothes on your back, you've got a family, you've got water, you've got food, as I said, all these different things. So you should look at like that. You should look at things like that as well and sort of be thankful for it. But one more question, mate, before we wrap this podcast up, because I know we both got things on today. We're very busy.
That's sweet. You're all good, mate. Don't worry. You don't have to be bang on at the time anyway. You're all good. So don't rush it.
So just the last question then. I just want to ask, what would be your advice for any personal trainer upcoming? Because there's so many people who want to do personal training, who, go on the college courses and their aim is to become a PT, or maybe there's someone watching this who wants to get into the industry but they're not sure the route, or maybe it's already someone who's already a personal trainer but is just struggling to get clients. What would be your advice for those people?
Yeah, so I think the biggest thing is looking at like, what's your weakest link in the chain? So again, going back to what I said at the start, it's like, realistically, the three things that you need. You need to care, you need to have the knowledge behind everything, and then you have the business skills behind it. Because realistically, you're never going to make money working for someone as a personal trainer. You're not gonna really make it that way. So realistically, you are going to have to go self-employed on this. So you got to look at like whatever the weakest link in the chain for you. So if you don't care, then I'd probably question why is it you want to be a personal trainer in the first place. I would like to think most people do, but like you'd be surprised how many people get into PT because they like training themselves, or they think that there's a quick way to make money, or all of those things, which I can tell you now is fucking definitely not. If you're in it for money, like you're picking the wrong job, go and be an accountant or something. Because
I mean, if you're in it for the money, you normally end up earning less money.
Exactly, and that's exactly it. If you care, you'll make more money. Yeah. So caring is number one. And again, obviously, if you're struggling with that, it might be that, all right, at the moment you're trying to work with fat loss clients, but you've got a massive passion for powerlifting, and so that's why you don't care about that. So again, go down that route. Make sure you're passionate about the route you go down. So obviously, look at that first of all. Then the knowledge. If you don't have the knowledge, to be honest with you, I would say 95% of my knowledge is all learned through online. To be honest with you, and through experience, obviously.
Sorry, guys, we got cut off there. Sorry, Ricky, what was you on about there, mate?
Right, we're back. So, so what I was saying about personal training, if you want to become a successful personal trainer, so look at the weak link in the chain. Obviously, you've gone over if you care, but then looking at the educational side of it, as I was saying, I've learned the majority of my stuff, to be honest, through experience, personal experience, of just coaching people, being in the trenches, as well as actually online, to be honest with you. Majority of the knowledge I've learned is through being online. So you can get very, very far with that. But then on top of that, like what you were saying, Dan, earlier about learning off people who've been there, done it. To be honest, like if anyone out here is actually serious about becoming a personal trainer, don't be afraid to drop me a message, because I'm not saying I'm any massive expert at it, but I'm more than happy to give a hand. Obviously, again, I've got more experience than potentially someone who's just starting, so I'm more than happy to give them a hand. But like, for example, in my scenario, I was lucky enough to work at a personal training facility in Cardiff, who in my opinion got some of the best coaches in the UK, to be honest with you, and I learned off them. I've taken all the knowledge off them. So obviously there's that, as well as courses. I mean, in terms of like courses, like I've learned quite a lot of Poliquin Group, so Charles Poliquin's courses. I've learned quite a lot off. So Poliquin Group, they are expensive, the courses, but they are well worth it. I wouldn't recommend you going on any random course, because a lot of them are shit. So they've got that side of it. And then you've got the business side of it. Again, you can learn a lot of business stuff online. You can learn a lot of stuff through personal experience. However, again, if business is maybe not your strong point, maybe look at getting a coach in that side of stuff. So you could look at, how learning marketing tactics, learning ways to get people through the door. However, what I would say is make sure you've got the knowledge to be able to make sure that when people do come to you, they want to stay. Because so many personal trainers, I would say, honestly, like something I see all the time now, and it pisses me off, to be honest with you. I see PTs who are fucking amazing salesmen, and then they're shit PTs. So like, they're like amazing, they sell this amazing dream, and like they're getting people sign up, but then they are shit at what they do, and they can't, like, they get no results. They've got no track history of showing that they got results. They don't, like, they just got it all backwards. So you're better off, if you're going to have a bias, be a really good PT, and people will come to you through word of mouth. That's the best bit of advice. However, if you want to take your business to the next level, then you need to learn marketing tactics and stuff like that. But it's looking at those three things, and you're always going to have different areas that need bringing up. So you've got to look at, like, what's your weak link in the chain right now? Just because that's a weak link in the chain right now, after 6 months' time, it might be something different again. So you just constantly got to build it up. And again, you've got to apply that to any goal. It's the same with with your strength work, like you're going to have weak links in the chain. You work on that weak link to build you up to that next level, but then you're going to have to find something else to build you up to that next level again. And it's a never ending process, really. But it's just like, enjoy the process then. I think that's the biggest thing. Again, if you, like I said, being PT for the right reasons, and it's like the best job you can ever do, to be honest with you.
Definitely, mate. And I always say as well, I think you're a good coach or a personal trainer when you have past clients coming back to you. I think that's very important. When you have people who leave for various different reasons and they come back to you, you know that you provide a good service.
Definitely, 100%. It's always a good gauge, as well as, again, like some referrals. If people are telling their friends about you, it's because they can't help but tell their friends about you. It's like they're so buzzed about it, like they have to talk about it. And that's obviously what you want with your clients,
Yeah, definitely.
So it's, that's the thing. But it's like, it's a tough career. It's tough, but like it's worth every second of it if you're willing to put the work in.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's you've got to be passionate about it, really, haven't you? It's like, if you're so passionate about the gym and so passionate about helping people, even though it's tough, it doesn't really feel like work. Like when I'm dealing with my clients on like phone calls or voice notes or whatever, or I'm programming them new plans for the new year or whatever, or writing down their goals for 2023 and going through different things with them, it doesn't feel like work. It just feels like I'm talking to mates, It's like your clients are like, I don't look at them like clients. I look at them as mates. It's like they're just friends that I'm just helping out. So I think when you're passionate about doing something and you're in an industry that you absolutely love, you never really have to work a day in your life technically, even though it can be hard. But you never really have to work a day in your life because you love what you do.
Exactly. That's the thing. Like, I'll say it on this podcast now because I wonder if I can look back at this in years and years and years to come. Like my plan is I never want to stop coaching until the day I die. Like, honest to God, I want to be a jacked grandpa who's PTing people in the gym still. Hopefully I can do it for free by then as well, because I won't even need to worry about money. Do you know what I mean? That's awesome. Yeah. If you can be in that position, then you like you said, you never have to work until the end of life.
Yeah, that's awesome, mate. I think that's a very good approach. I think you have the right mindset. There's so many people upcoming, as we spoke about earlier. There's so many people coming up who don't really have the right mindset for it. But I think the key to your success, and we can both agree on this, is the fact that you genuinely give a fuck about your clients. You don't just do it for the pay. You genuinely give a fuck about every single client, and you genuinely care about their journey. You want to know about their personal sort of struggles as well, and you want to help them with as much as possible. And I think that's a great mindset to have, and I think we need more people like that in the industry.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. It's getting there. Like, it's definitely better than what it was. I think the standards are getting higher and higher. So people who don't care, they're sort of drifting away now anyway, because they just can't keep up. Mm-hmm. So we're good in that sense. But that's the thing, is it's something that hopefully we'll keep going in that direction so we can really whittle away the shit PTs, to be honest with you. Because again, it's something I'm passionate about. It creates a bad name for all of us personal trainers. I know people who've had bad experiences with PTs and they'll never go to another PT again.
Yeah, and, it's a shame, isn't it?
It's a shame because, both you and I know, how life-changing it can be, to be honest with you, having a coach. Yeah. But, it's just, you just got to find what's good and what's bad.
Yeah, definitely. What's the plans over Christmas, mate? I'm sure it's the same as me, and that is to eat as much as possible.
Yeah, pretty much eat as much as possible. Try and I suppose I'll try and switch off a little bit. I'll never switch off properly from all this, but switch off as best I can, so I'm fresh then for not January. I'll be back day after Boxing Day, back on it with people.
New year, new me.
New year, new me. All that jazz. We were talking about that before the recording came on.
For anyone watching this, don't fall into that trap of saying new year, new me, because by the time April comes and it's like, oh fuck, the new year's gone, oh fuck, I'll just go back to normal again. It's like the motivation is gone.
Yeah.
Don't, if anything, fucking start New Year's Eve, the day before New Year's Day, or fucking start now. What's stopping you from just fucking starting now and becoming better today?
Yeah,
there's nothing
stopping. Exactly. I think I did a post on that the other day and I wrote it out on my email list. There's no reason why you can't start something now over Christmas. If your goal's fat loss, and you want to pig out even still, you can still you can still build habits now. You can still like, make a conscious effort to go out for a walk every day. You can still start the gym. Like that doesn't stop you from enjoying Christmas. Do you know what I mean? There's so many ways you can start. But people just like don't like that. And again, I know people who have been that New Year's resolutioner and are absolutely smashing it now. So that, there's obviously exceptions to the rule, but unfortunately, majority of people, I wouldn't even say it's April, February. Most people drop off.
Yeah. But it goes back to that motivation versus discipline thing, doesn't it?
Definitely.
January the 1st is like, you've got all this motivation because it's a new year. Well, I don't personally see why a new year can motivate someone personally, but that's for everyone else. But it's that motivation thing. It's like, right, new year, new me, I'm going to change. It's like a new year. Whereas like the discipline, when you're disciplined, it's like, okay, it's January the 1st. I'm still exactly the same. I'm still going to do exactly the same as I did on fucking July 22nd, fucking 2014. You know what I mean? It's like nothing changes. Like, do you know what I mean? Like in the time frame, it's like nothing changes just because it's January the 1st. Whether
exactly.
It's in February the 22nd, fucking December the 4th, it's like, it doesn't matter. You do the same shit every fucking
day.
It's that discipline thing. That's why discipline is so important, is because you can do the shit you don't want to do any day of the fucking year. Whereas motivation is just like, right, January 1st, let's go. And then February, it's like, fuck, New Year's gone. Fuck it. I'll just go back to eating chocolate cake again.
Yeah, no, that's bang on. That's literally bang on. And I think even, again, I'm not saying this to try and sell anyone's coaching, but if you then look at, like, because I think a lot of the reason why a lot of people get on that buzz about like why a lot of people start in January is because lots of other people start in January the 1st. So they think, oh, well, I want to be on that bandwagon. And then as people drop off, they also drop off. Obviously, if you surround yourself with people who are already on that journey, it makes it a lot easier. It's about your surroundings as well. If you're surrounded by people who are quitting in February, you're going to do the same unless you really, 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 really want it. Which hats off to if you do. But like, there's a lot of people who, they need that extra bit of it. I can't even think of the saying off the top of my head. It's like you are the outcome of like the 5 people you're surrounded by the most.
Yeah, I've heard that. Yeah.
If you're surrounded by people who are constantly quitting, and you every year, that cycle will happen. I'll start in January, I'll quit in February. You've got to change the people around you.
Yeah. It's like, show me your friends and I'll show you your future or something like that.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. All that motivational bullshit, but it's truth behind it.
Yeah, I think it's all about being passionate, becoming disciplined and stronger, and also just surrounding yourself with positive people. I think that's the three of the biggest things you should really be focusing on, especially in this industry as well, any industry for that matter as well.
Yeah, 100%. And I think it's you've got to find what's right for you. I mean, that's the thing, is it like prime example between like me and you, like the type of people you're going to be coaching and working around will motivate and inspire a lot of people who are similar to that. But then like my clients probably wouldn't be motivated by that. It'd probably go backwards. Whereas, client that come into an environment that is similar to my clients, they're going to be motivated by that. So it's also important about finding where you're at in your health and fitness journey and finding like-minded people in that scenario. Because again, if as much as I like business, I mean, realistically, if you put me in a room with like a bunch of billionaires and try to have a conversation with them, I'd be motivated and inspired by them, but I don't know how much I'd get out of it realistically, because they're way, way, way above where I'm at with things. So it's like finding where you're at with things as well. Again, you can always find inspiration and stuff from, which is obviously really important as well. But again, like you said, that inspiration and motivation only lasts a certain amount of time. You need to also have that, what's going to keep me going day after day after day on the good days as well as the bad days.
Yeah.
If you can find out, like you said, you've won.
Yeah. Oh, mate, I think this has been a very valuable podcast. I think it's going to be valuable for a lot of people, for a lot of upcoming people who want to be, sort of entered into the industry, or, sort of want to dive into the personal training scene, and also for anyone who's looking to lose weight and get into the gym as well. So thanks for coming on today, mate, and I hope you have a great Christmas.
Pleasure, mate.
I'll speak to you
Thank you very much, mate. You too. Take care, mate.
Thank you very much, mate. Have a good Christmas. See you soon, buddy.
You too, bro. Thanks, bro.
Mate.